Hi, my name's Clare Murphy and I am a professional storyteller. I've been a freelance self-employed artist for 14 years. This has been the only way I've made my living and this is my career. When I was a little kid, everyone always asked, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And I had an answer for the first few years. I would say vet or farmer or writer or whatever I could think of. And soon I stopped answering the question because the adult asking would latch onto it. And then they would say, well, you've got to do this, then you've got to do that, you've got to do this. And they would try to put me in a little box and I didn't want to be put in that box. So I stopped answering it. When I was a teenager, I made a subversive answer. I said, oh, I'm just going to be a bum and travel the world. And they would say, how are you going to afford it? And I'd say, I don't know, I'll wash dishes. But really, it was just a way to get them to stop asking the question. I started working when I was about 13 and I had so many different jobs. I started as a babysitter and then I worked in a theme park, I worked in an office, I worked in a theatre, I worked in a cafe, I worked in a bar. I made sandwiches for a living, I sold tickets for a living. I tried everything that I could think of that was minimum wage because I wasn't a skilled worker. When I was 22, someone said, what do you want? What do you want to do? And I still didn't know. But I did know one thing. I knew what I didn't want. I didn't want a minimum wage customer service job. I didn't want to be waiting tables for the rest of my life. So I decided to finish a book I'd been writing. A children's book that had kept me company for 9 years on my travels. I finished that book and I gave it to a friend of my mother's who was a published writer, and she read it and she said, have you tried storytelling? I never even heard of storytelling. What was storytelling? So I called up some storytellers, just like that. I said, excuse me, are you a storyteller? They said, yeah. I said, well, what's that then? And I was fortunate that I found storytellers that were willing to talk about their work. In fact, they were excited to talk about their work. So I talked with them, I watched what they did, I went to festivals, I watched what people at festivals did. I started watching performers. Now, my father was an actor, so I was used to performance, but this was different. I spent 4 years watching. At that time, I put myself through college and I studied English and Spanish, but I didn't know what I wanted to be still, but I thought a degree might help. I came out in my last year at college, my friends asked me to show them this storytelling thing I was always talking about. So I did. In someone's living room, some wines and candles, started telling stories, and one thing led to another. So someone invited me to their school, so I told stories there. Then somebody invited me to their library and I told stories there, and to a festival and it just went like that. And all the while I was gathering stories and practicing and trying to get better. Word of mouth. I worked as hard as I could to be as good as I could every job I had, and every job was an audition. And I got more and more through word of mouth, people passed my name on. A year later, I was performing at an international festival in Portugal. And since then, it's been like that. I go, I get the job, I do the job, and then I get recommended for another job. Because in performance, you've got to have a good rep. Soon after getting established as a performer, people started asking me to teach storytelling skills to people who weren't storytellers. It seemed like a good idea. So I started working with teachers, with librarians, with parents. Then I got asked to work in a women's refuge. I started working with refugees and asylum seekers. And then that work spread. So now, well, I'm a trainer with the National Theatre in London. I'm a trainer with the Drive Project. I work with limbless veterans. I work with mission critical teams. I work in business. I work in science. I train scientists on how to talk about their work. I work with academics. I work in the sports sector because everyone needs to get better at telling stories, right? So here I am, 14 years in. I didn't find my career until I was 30. And this is what I do. So you, wherever you are in your path, here's a few things I learned. Ask for help. From people in the field that you want to get into, approach them. Some of them are going to say no, but some of them are going to say yes. Find mentors. people you admire either in the field you want to get into or maybe not, but people whose mindset you admire, people's way of being you admire. If you think you can learn something from them, ask to be their mentee, and you'd be surprised. They might say yes. Find a supportive community, be that your family or your friends or other people who are trying to get into that sector, but people who are going to support your path as you go along for those days when you don't think you can keep going. That's when your community will pick you up. So choose well and choose people who are positive and who'll keep you going. Ray Bradbury said, he's a science fiction writer, he said, leap and build your wings on the way down. And that's what I say to you. You might not think that your career that you have in your head exists, but I didn't think storytelling was a career. It is. So a lot of things are possible. Go towards something that you want, and if you don't yet know what you want, maybe try doing what I did. Find out what you don't want. If there's one sector, be it physics or city planning or environmental studies, and you know you like the idea but you don't know what you want to do in there, that's good. Go towards it. You might meet the right people that will guide you along. But I wish you well in your journey. It is a journey, and you'll definitely make mistakes, which is something I've done a lot. So good luck with it and keep going, and I hope you find what you're looking for.